Hey everyone, welcome to DevFest 2021 with Google Cloud Emirates. My name is Sachin, a Google developer expert. And in this session, we will learn how to build the next generation of chatbots. So let's keep it as interactive as possible. So quick introduction about myself. My name is Sachin. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Tupelo Life, which is a connected healthcare company based out of Dallas, Texas. I'm also a Google for Startup Accelerator mentor, head of GDG Doha. I'm a Google developer expert and an active mentor for a lot of startups within the region, writer, blogger, and recently with the whole pandemic situation, a YouTuber. So speaking of YouTube, everything that we are going to learn today is completely available as part of step-by-step tutorials. But we will be exploring some more key details today, and I want to make sure that you have some insights on how to build a chatbot from scratch and how we can add it up with other services and features to take it up to the next level. So for everyone interested, the links and other information and resources to this specific session will be provided in the live chat section. Okay, so I want to actually start this entire session with this bold claim of intelligence. So I know that we are talking about chatbots today. And to some extent, before we actually move on to chatbot, it's important that we understand the definition of intelligence. So most of us know what it is, but let's also understand some of the key words. And again, this is not something that I made up. This is available online. So I just took the definition. And what's interesting over here is what is intelligence? The capacity of abstraction, logic, understanding, self-awareness, learning, emotional knowledge. So keep these keywords in mind: reasoning, planning, creativity. So I know the entire industry is moving towards this goal, but what we are trying to do is today, as part of today's session, is to keep it as simple as possible, because this is going to be one of those talks where it's going to be lightning fast. At the same time, I'm going to try something really new today as well, where we're going to build something within a very quick, short period of time. I will also be having a look at the chat section, so feel free to, if you have any questions or queries, feel free to ask those in the comment section as well. So speaking of chatbots, so what is a chatbot? So it's basically an AI or artificial intelligence software that can simulate a conversation or a chat with the user in natural language. So just like how we humans interact with each other through natural conversations, it is natural for us. So what we are trying to do with chatbots or virtual assistants or virtual agents at this point is to somehow simulate that same conversation through machines. So it could be a conversation with the user in a natural language through different kind of applications like messaging applications, through your websites, mobile apps, or even through a telephone. So how can you build one, right? So before we actually start looking into how we can build something, let's also understand how hard it is to build a conversational AI. So speaking of conversational AI, it is very natural for us. But now imagine that with one conversation, a simple example that we always use is if you're looking at a recipe chatbot and you're looking for recipe recommendations. In that case, if the user says, I would like to have something hot to warm me up and I want it fast. So now if you are trying to decipher this or interpret this specific conversation from the user, you can understand that it's a very simple conversation from a human standpoint, but for the machine to understand, I'm talking about the weather being like, cold, nothing to do with the food or the recipe. I'm saying something to warm me up. Again, it's out of context. I mean, from a context standpoint, the user is explaining from his standpoint, but it's still nothing to do with the food. So is it hard to build a conversational AI? Not really. So thankfully, we have Dialogflow. Which is a conversation design platform, and we'll be using Dialogflow today to build conversational applications, or in this case, chatbots. Okay. So the key concepts of Dialogflow is two things. One is intent matching, and the other thing is entity extraction. So what is intent matching? Intent matching, to keep it in simple terms, is when you have a conversation with the chatbot, whatever the intent of the user is matched by the intent matching. So let's say if you want to say, I would like to get a recipe for so and so. So you can create an intent called recipe recommendations. And whenever the user's conversation is similar to that, the Dialogflow will understand that, okay, I need to match it against this specific intent. In the same way, we have something called as entity extraction. What is entity extraction? Let's assume that for chatbots, we always need to extract key information from the user, right? So let's say you're building a chatbot for your company. It is a support-based chatbot. So the user says, my phone is not working, it's stuck, it's having issues, or it's broken. I would like to fix it. So in that case, you might ask, okay, what are the key information, right? So what's your phone number? What's the user's name? What's the issue? So you want to extract all those key terms from the conversation with the user, and then capture it in your backend, and then do your backend logic, right? So how does Dialogflow look like? Again, we'll be building something very quickly right now. And I know we are running short of time, but we'll actually go through some of these. So a simple example of what the whole flow might look like with Dialogflow integrated to other platforms is something like this. My phone keeps rebooting and is broken. Can I get it fixed tomorrow? So if you're using something like the Google Assistant, it will then understand my phone is broken. Can I get it fixed tomorrow? It will then be passed on to Dialogflow. Dialogflow will then pass the information, extract the keywords like phone, tomorrow. You can even have broken as the issue. You'll pass it on to your webhook or backend logic and give the response back to the user. Okay, it's very simple. Now, with this workflow, I would also like to say that if you guys are interested in building for chatbots, also be aware that voice is the future. And with a platform like Dialogflow and Google Assistant, you can actually build voice bots. So that's for another session altogether. So let's see all of this in action, right? So the first thing that you guys can do is go to Dialogflow. Now what I have done over here is I haven't done anything apart from just creating a simple agent. So the first time that you go to dialogflow.cloud.google.com, again, Dialogflow has different flavors. All of that, if you want to start from the very basic beginner level to intermediary and advanced level, feel free to check out my YouTube channel. Everything is linked there. But I want to also show you some more interesting aspects of what you can build. Now, with a simple Dialogflow agent over here, by default, you'll have two things, which is called the welcome intent and the fallback intent. What does it mean? By default, when you say over here, so this is a simple simulator for you to test your bots. If I say hi, it will say greetings, how can I help? And how is this actually being rendered? Now, over here, you can see that Dialogflow automatically creates this default welcome intent for you. And the way how you design conversational applications or actions is by training the machine learning model. And how do you do that? There's no specific coding involved at this point, at least for this example, because here what we are doing is you try as a user, as a developer, you would try what the user might actually interact with your application. So by default, it's saying, okay, hi, hello, anything with greetings, the default response will be greetings, how can I help? Now, for the sake of this demo, what we'll do is this is where this response is coming, right? Now, if you are building your own uh, chatbot, you will create intents, you will create entities, and so on. But most of the time, a lot of the companies would have a lot of information that they would like to have as part of their chatbot, right? So they'll be like, we have a tons of information that we have based on our product, based on our company. How can I quickly have that accessible across to my user without actually going in and creating a lot of intents and a lot of entities and trying to connect all of those information? So with a new feature called as Dialogflow Knowledge Base, again, it's a beta feature. You need to go to settings and enable beta functionality, but I've already enabled that. So let's create a simple chatbot right now. Probably have 5 to 10 minutes at this point. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to create a chatbot which basically answers all the information about COVID-19, right? So with the whole pandemic, this is a simple best use case scenario of getting the information quickly. So once you go to knowledge base, just create a knowledge base. So I've already created one. Inside that, there's nothing. I've now what you can do is as part of your company resources, you might already have an FAQ document or FAQ, a website with FAQ, a schema which lists all the question and answers, right? The frequently asked questions that your users might have already interacted with. So in this case, what you can do is go and quickly create one document name. Okay, I'm just calling it COVID-19. I'm knowledge type as FAQ. Here I'm going to extract the information from an existing website. Okay, so I hope this is one of the websites that we'll be doing. So let me open that website just so that you guys can see this. This is from the Department of Health, UAE. So these questions, right? We would like to have all of these questions and the answers of this directly into our chatbot. How can we do that? Now, you can choose URL. I'm going to paste the same thing over here. And as long as your website follows the schema markup for FAQ documents, it will automatically fetch this information. You can also enable automatic reload as an option. Okay, so this will take few seconds while it's linking and extracting all the information from this website. Okay, the cool thing about this is you can also add additional documents and get this thing working. So this is from the Department of Health Abu Dhabi. And let's say that if I want to add something from the CDC in the US, again, they also have an FAQ document or FAQ, a website with FAQ information. And how you can do that is you can also come here and say, here's a new document. I'm just gonna quickly do the same thing, pass a URL and create. So by doing automatic reload, when you update the contents on your website, this will also automatically extract that information in a regular interval as well. So you don't really need to every time you update contents, you have to come here, update. You don't have to do that. So all of this is like easily done for you. So now all of this being done, once we have all of the documents linked, we will quickly come here under responses, just click on add response. Keep this as default and save. Okay. So now by doing this, just this, what we can try is come back to the simulator and I can say, how does the virus spread? and instantly I have all the information that's coming from one of these sites. So let's look at one of the questions over here. How many doses to be given? So instead of that, I can also have the conversation like how many doses are required. So something not exactly the same thing as in the website, but if everything works fine, you can see that it's still able to extract, understand that that's what we were talking about, and we have 2 doses 3 weeks apart, the same information coming from the Department of Health, right? So that's how easy it is to quickly use knowledge base connectors to build your chatbot. Now, there's a lot more that you can do. You can connect it with your own backend. You can, if I come here under integrations, you can connect to your existing website, or you can even create the same version in have a Dialogflow messenger. So just like how you have chatbots on this thing, you can just copy this code and paste it onto your website, and you'll have something similar to this. So over here, if I click on this, I can say, how does the virus spread? And instantly, I have all the information. I can also use rich responses, images, cards, all of those things within the response as well. So this is a very cool thing about how easy it is to build a bot based on your existing content. Now, moving back to my slides. How can we take it to the next level? So with Dialogflow, and I strongly believe that the true essence of technology is to by combining different technologies and services together. So you can use Dialogflow, you can use Google Cloud's existing machine learning APIs, you can use third-party devices like Twilio and other services, and you can actually build a meaningful product. So this is one such example. So whatever we've done, you can even use sentiment analysis, like based on the conversation that the user is having. If the user is pissed off or he's really angry, you can understand that this user is really angry. So let me handle this directly with an actual live person. So all of those tutorials are available. A simple example of that would be here. So you say your product is really, so here you can see that I'm saying your product is really bad. It's not working at this point. So when I say something like that, immediately when I hit send as a customer, by using machine learning APIs, we can understand that the sentiment of the user is actually negative. So immediately it says, no worries, I'll connect you with a live operator, and then connects you with an actual agent. So in that case, you can quickly handle that, right? So that is one use case. And the second tutorial over here is you can also take it to another step further by using other services which already has things like this. To set up an appointment.
At what time?
6 p.m.
When do you need this?
Tomorrow.
What kind of services are you looking for?
I would like to have the dental service.
Okay, let me see if we can fit you in. December 31st, 6 p.m. is fine.
So this is another example of how we've integrated, connected with the backend, calendar integration with a digital human, a lot of those examples. So again, there's a lot that you can do with Dialogflow. With the next level of services, which is Dialogflow CX, it takes it to a step further. And I have a very special episodes coming starting next year. So stay tuned for that. And you can also use things like speech synthesis markup language to add music, background, voice modulation, all of those things as well. So I I will provide you with the links, and all the links will be provided to the slides. You can check out all of these demos as well. And for people who would like to get started from scratch, who has no experience, I would highly encourage you to check out this playlist, which is called the Tech with Search Ultimate Chatbot Tutorial Series. We start from scratch, then we integrate with Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Line, Bot, SSML. We'll create 3D virtual agents, show how you can connect with live agent and the chatbot, switching handoff between both, and then also use machine learning APIs and so on. So that was basically just all the information that I wanted to quickly share today. And again, for people who would like to follow, I'm available in Twitter, and for YouTube, join me in my live streams and live sessions as well. So with that being said, thank you for having me today as part of your DevFest. Thanks to Nabil and the entire organizing team for making this a special event, and hope you guys enjoy your DevFest.